All right, we're all rocking and rolling. At least we should be. Oh God. All right, yeah. Well, we're all here, rocking and rolling. So, actually, make sure this mic is working. Cool. There. All right, confirmation. Okay, so on our side, we had things happen. Bobby planned to do a preview video and stuff earlier in the week. It just didn't happen. The real live show with me, Rody, and Bobby will be tomorrow at 1 Eastern. For those that want, you know, I guess real opinions or views or stuff. This video is just me and my unfiltered thoughts and everything that I am probably going to do for the game tomorrow with the expectation of making absolutely zero. Um, so if you're looking for safe plays or picks, or maybe you're a new player who's never played DFS before, this video probably isn't for you because like this is just me kind of talking unfiltered. Figured I'd do it live in case anybody jumps in and wants to ask questions and stuff. But yeah, so like let's start. So like from my perspective, right, looking at this game, we'll just bring up DK. Screw it, who cares? When I look at the opening week for the NFL and the Super Bowl, I view these 2 weeks in the exact same vein. Typically, I want personally, since I still have access to, some of the lower stakes contests, I try and take advantage of dumb people making shitter lines on the toilet, right? Like the day of these games. So usually for this game, which I might even do today, I'm still deciding, right? Typically, I try and play as much on as many different sites to take advantage of low stakes players or whatever, So I'm talking Yahoo, FanDuel, Super Draft, whatever, right? But the issue that comes is at least there's usually chalk or whatever, week one NFL or in most Super Bowls. Also, secondly, if you want my opinion or if you want a preview of like what happened last year, what I did in the Super Bowl last year was I just faded McCaffrey, right? Obviously, it didn't work. Like that's just how I play the Super Bowl. Um, but the fact that this game is one of the probably highest variant slates that we've had for such a big game in a long time, at least as long as I can remember. I tweeted out, weeks ago, as soon as we had the official, Super Bowl guys. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, dude. It was yeah, literally, after, Bobby won a million. This is my opinion. Like this Super Bowl DFS slate is going to come down to 1v1s on what idiot Kansas City receiver accidentally finds broken coverage. This slate is primed for variance, and because of that, typically I want what the heck? I just got a notification on Discord. Who's talking to me? Okay, that's not important. Usually for the Super Bowl, I'll play single entry, right? But there's no real safe avenue for this slate. Typically I'm in the hundreds and the 50s or whatever, and then just ton of the single entry stuff. When I find a line that I want to, I don't think I can do that this year because when we look at where we're building and all these idiot guys on playing and stuff, Barkley is most likely going to score at least 2 touchdowns. Doesn't, and this is just me talking out loud, right? This isn't just me talking unfiltered about deciding what I'm going to do for this stupid slate. Barkley's probably going to score at least 2 touchdowns or 1 touchdown, like 80 yards. Just in my head, Barkley's projection is probably like 18, right? Of obviously higher slate, whatever. I think Barkley's going to get there for the most part, right? So I really can't, look at a situation like, oh, I'm going to just fade Barkley or I'm going to play different or whatever. Like Barkley's not that deciding factor for me on this slate, right? Hurts has upside, clearly, we saw it in the last game and stuff. When I'm looking at where we look at ownership of the captain position, expected for the game, Barkley, Hurts, and Mahomes are your three highest captains. So, like, first, right off the bat, we can't play them, and we cannot be part of that group of, trains or whatever. Like, playing Barkley, Hurts, and Mahomes is just a no-go for being the captain position. Just cannot do that. I'm not going to be on the three highest owned guys in the captain position just right off the bat. Okay, but that still leans to me like probably still one in Barkley and probably still one in Hurts. Also, looking at the fact that I'm sorry, I'm still coughing, so we're still popping. Um, you know, what is it? Popping cough drops like a bunch of Zen. So I apologize if I'm all slobbery and stuff. But the public is going to be playing a ton of Barkley, Hurts, and Mahomes in the captain, right? And in general, okay. For me, finding the guy to get different or build or just analyze of what I would want to do to get off of that ownership or get different is probably not playing Mahomes. Okay. And then again, just for the sake of this, we're just looking at game logs and stuff, right? Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, it's a fucking Super Bowl. Like, any variance is gonna be high. We're gonna have trick plays and stupid shit anyway. Like, projections almost don't even matter, right? But when I look at the ceiling performances and stuff, I would probably want Jalen Hurts. Combine that with the fact that people are probably going to be very Kansas City heavy on this, whether they're expecting them to win the game, whether it's just easier for them to build with Kansas City, with where Kelsey, Worthy, and Mahomes, like it's easier to stack Mahomes with people. I probably want to be Philadelphia heavy. I would lean towards that. It's like just building and trying to get different. I feel like I'm going to have a majority a 4-2 Philly. Also, secondly, to understand, where my mindset is, like, if I was doing my normal, like, single entry stuff, it's like 550, 600 on this slate, right? Since I don't feel comfortable really being able to find a life that I'm probably going to enjoy, well, then it's probably a 20 max type of slate then for me. So like 20 and the 20, 20 and the 10, and then do those 20 in every $3 contest that pops up, because there's a real chance this one fills up clearly or whatever. There's a real chance that we get multiple 20 max contests around $1, $2, $3. So I just want to clearly enter all of those, so I feel like I just rather get 650, 700 on the game in 20 lineups than just one. So when I'm talking, I'm speaking more of where I want my portfolio to be and the types of builds that I want to use, right? So because of that, I feel like the captains that I would force in and use, especially when we're looking at high upside, because clearly, I mean, and I really do think we're going to have, I think there's a really good chance we don't have a lot of people tying in this. I think there's a real chance that I think, Watson is probably not playing. I think he is most likely not. It's more, let me see. I gotta Watson. I gotta check and see. But like Xavier Worthy, right? Clearly wide receiver one. Hollywood Brown, great PP point per dollar play. What I would argue is probably the best receiver on the team. Juju, showed up last week. Hopkins, like, okay, whatever. They didn't use him this year. Like, this is the game you play Hopkins in, right? So like any of these four guys can work out. So then, yeah, I think Sky Moore is the one who isn't playing. Give me a second. I apologize. Who got ruled out? Yeah, okay, my bad. It was Sky Moore. So between Watson, Hopkins, Hollywood, Xavier, and any of the Kansas City wide receivers, like they're all in play, absolutely in play. Projections don't even matter for them really. Because of that, I would just rather sacrifice not having Mahomes in that and trying to nail whatever wide receiver from Kansas City ends up going with. So yet again, when I'm looking at the potential of having 20 lineups, any of the Kansas City receivers are absolutely in play. Yet again, this is why this video isn't like, oh my god, this is how they win in Super Bowl, 58 or 50, whatever the fuck the Super Bowl is. Just because I think it's wildly out there. In terms of captain, since I'm not using Barkley, Hurts, and Mahomes in the captain, and because I'm removing Mahomes from probably the player pool, I think Mahomes is probably going to be the guy that I take the stand on and fade. Um, because I probably still want at least anywhere from 45 to 65% Hurts. Um, fine or 45 to 60% Barkley. I'm probably going to have Hurts in nearly every lineup. So there's a real chance that my captains are AJ Brown, Travis Kelsey, Smith, and Goddard. I think that's how I'm going to approach this slate. And due to that, because in order for Philadelphia to win this game, obviously they have to outplay Kansas City, like duh, of course, obviously, right? Barkley's gonna do his own thing, but I don't think Barkley runs away with it like he has, in these recent matches. I mean, this is just like ungodly. And if he does, whatever, we all lose because all the idiots who play Barkley and captain are just gonna fucking tie for shit, right? I think he set Barkley down at 12K. He gets 18 to 20 points or whatever, just does his own thing, gets his 2 touchdowns or whatever. Because when I'm looking at stuff, he gets a touchdown and 80 yards or whatever. It's 14 points right off the bat. Most likely he's going to be in the probably 80 to 110 rushing yards range, just in my head, plus a touchdown. So yet again, right around the 18 to probably 21. He's not going to go. I don't think he's going to go off for 28, 30. So I could just make sure I have him in the flex. Same thing with Jalen Hurts, especially if I'm going to have Philadelphia wide receivers in the captain position. And now, yet again, especially because nobody's playing AJ Brown, his ownership is going to be so low. I think this is literally the only way you compete in this tournament on the slate tomorrow. You're not going to have optimizers in love with AJ Brown. You're not going to have Sims in love with him. You're not going to have the jabronis, at Buffalo Wild Wings, or at the Super Bowl party at their buddy's house enjoyed AJ Brown or anything like that. And so AJ, Devontae, Kelsey, and Goddard seem to be the guys that I would want to focus on. The reason Kelsey is in that is because I think Kelsey is probably the most guaranteed play. Now, yet again, I would argue he's very similar to AJ Brown's performances, but it's a Super Bowl. I can't imagine Mahomes and Kansas City doesn't target Kelsey when this game is going to be fought and chased after, in between, the 20s or 30, whatever they call it. Like, it's going to be a midfield possession. These guys are going to be fighting for first downs. I think Kelsey, if Mahomes isn't seeing anything, down the field at all, I mean, I'm not trying to be like, oh, duh, obviously, but like, I think Kelsey gets a lot of check down passes for like 8 to 15 yards and whatever he can manage, after the catch is what he's going to do. But I would expect Kelsey probably gets 9 targets, catches 6 of those for, 65 to 70 yards. If he does anything else, then obviously, that'd be good. But the fact that Kelsey's probably the safest guy, and then any of the Kansas City wide receivers can work. Like, I don't even really care who I end up getting. Between Pacheco and Hunt, where clearly we're seeing Hunt be used, but even at his price tag at 64, I think he can very easily fit in lineups. That's why I think Mahomes is the one guy that I probably feel the most comfortable with fading, especially like let's just look at what Sabersim has in terms of ownership. Now, this is my first time actually looking at Sabersim this entire week. It's a Super Bowl. Like, I don't even care about football. Like, I don't even care about sports. Why would I be diving into this like 3 weeks ago, right? Why would I be diving into this on Wednesday? Like, it's the day before. All right, we'll look at it now. So, seems that and actually Worthy seems to be the third option in the captain position right now, but still 17, 17, 12, 10 for Hertz. Compare that with 5% Brown, 6% Goddard. For Smith, I personally like my chances with, excuse me, with the discount ownership here. And then especially if Mahomes is the highest owned, kind of play across the board, I think I just think that that's the fade you end up, or at least I'm going to end up um, doing. I think that's how I get different. I'm not. I'd rather play Barkley over Mahomes. I think he has a much higher role when we look at the projected points right now on the SaberSim. It goes Barkley, Mahomes. So like clearly ownership will follow the route of the highest projected guys. Whereas you see, you look at Hollywood for 10, you look at Worthy for 15, you look at Juju for 4, Hopkins for 4. Like, I don't even think these are like this is the case where I'm not even caring about projections. Like, there's a real chance Hopkins can, and I hate when shows and people do that, but this really is the situation for Kansas City. Any one of these idiot wide receivers can go for 60 yards and a touchdown, can find broken coverage, and not even a touchdown, just find broken coverage on 2 catches and end up with 85 yards, you know? Um, so because of that, I think I'm going to build Philadelphia heavy, fade Mahomes, and literally run with whatever I end up running with from the Kansas City side. I can't imagine that's literally any worse than like let's just go by highest projected line. Fuck it, we'll do 2,200. Why not? What a fun number. Also, especially with Daytona being this week like that, that's what I'm focusing on, right? Like I'm gonna fucking throw down like $2,000 at Daytona, if not more. Um, like that's my main focus this week, and really trying to get at least 4 entries in the Screaming Eagle. That's actually why I'm interested in playing the Super Bowl so aggressively, to try and get a couple extra dollars to try and get some Screaming Eagle entries. But you look at I don't even care about what they're doing. Let's go ahead and look at the top. We made 2,200. Let's look at the top 1,000 lineups in terms of sorted by projected score. Your highest projected score lineup right now on SaberSim is Mahomes, Barkley, Hurts, Goddard, Brown, and the third down Perry or whatever his name is for Kansas City. Dude, I don't know these guys. Why would I care about football players? So like these are first off, these are the lineups that I would probably avoid at all costs, outside of obviously the Barkley, Mahomes, and Hurts. Anything that's sorted by high projection on here, or that can easily be built, or right at the salary cap and stuff like that. Like, those are the lineups that are going to be played by people, at these Super Bowl parties, played by people looking at raw projections and stuff like that. We see, in this situation, the highest projected captains just right off the bat of projected by projected score: Mahomes, Barkley, Worthy, Hurts. So we can identify like, hey, these are the lineups that look good on paper from a numbers perspective. These are lineups that are probably going to be played by people. If these lineups, if like say if this lineup is optimal, there's just a ton of people are going to have it, right? Same thing with like single entry. I just don't think this is a Super Bowl for single entry stuff either. I don't think this is a week for single entry because there's just so many variables and stuff. We look at the flex position as well, and just I don't think you're losing much by not having Mahomes as the really highest owned guy on the Chiefs. You know, that's my take. I probably don't want to play Mahomes. I would probably advise, or at least what I'm doing, or is probably playing Mahomes and getting different else, or just using that as the baseline to get different. If this is an accurate representation of ownership, and yet again, I don't have any contest in here. Just 57% in the flex, and what is it, 17 in the captain. What is that? 64, 74 total ownership. Let me get off 74% of the lineups, right? Like, let me be in that 25%. That means I'm either going to finish dead last in the contest if Mahomes does well, or if he underperforms or gets priced out or whatever, I'm part of the 25% of all lineups that don't have him. Like that's on top of yet again, when we're looking at the contest, you have the 75 with him, 25 that don't. 25 that don't have him could still have Barkley captain. They could still have other people. Like I want to get even more different. I want to, certainly try and split hairs and have the lowest owned lineups as possible. And I think that this slate allows you to have allows you to still have a lot of EV with low owned lineups that are fading, Mahomes, lineups that don't have Mahomes, Barkley, or Hurts, or even Xavier Worthy in the captain. Um, I would not be shocked to see at the end of the Super Bowl, and hell, Kelsey could underperform too. Like that's also the case. But I would not be shocked at the end of the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs win, and the people who scored touchdowns on the Chiefs side are like Kareem Hunt, Hollywood Brown, and like DeAndre Hopkins. Like that is absolutely in the realm of possibilities. And so even on a even on a good slate, on a good day, the Kansas City guys are sketchy across the board. Why not lean into that? Lean into that variance for this slate, and specifically, you know, because of that reasoning of being on so many um, aggressive or different plays. That's why I'm probably going to do 20 lineups instead of my normal, single entry for the Super Bowl, just because if like my lineups look like this, right? Like yet again, I haven't built anything, but I assume they're gonna be something like this, right? With like I'm gonna be frank. There's a real good chance I probably have a shitload of DeAndre Hopkins, uh, like DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith Schuster. Like I know for a fact this Super Bowl is gonna rely on like these idiots here. Um, Noah Gray. I mean, Noah Gray and Juju seem like great plays. Maybe not in this combined together, but like this is probably the way I'm going to end up going. You can get even more aggressive using Goddard because he's so cheap. We're on the right team. I like this. This is probably the type of stuff that I'll end up going with. Very Philly heavy. Do I think Philly wins? I don't even think that even matters. Who even cares? Um, I just think that's how I'm going to be approaching this slate. Um, Now, yet again, the real live show with Rody and Bobby and stuff, the guys who actually know ball and probably are much more interested in the slate. That'll be tomorrow at 1 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be on there as well. But I know a lot of people, at least a lot of new guys probably won't like this video at all. But I'm personally probably going to lean very heavy Philadelphia. I'm going to be very aggressive on fading the highest owned guys in the captain position, and I'm probably going to be fading um, Mahomes and just see what happens. Okay, because like we do this and I lose, and like okay, whatever happens, right? I play it the way that I think let let me talk out loud about the outcomes that I see that I could have. I play, Mahomes, I kind of just have like, no real takes or anything. I probably don't win really anything and, min cash 25 to 30% of the time, right? I don't go, or I go this route and don't play what's being owned. Is the outcome of losing really any different than like being with the field or playing the good plays and stuff? I don't really view it as such in such a huge contest with so many things that could happen. Um, so I'm just prioritizing being as drastically different from the field as possible, and that's building very Philly heavy, with a huge discount ownership. Especially like, bro, look at spreads like a point or whatever, right? Actually, less than whatever this whatever this is. This 0.3 of a point, right? Like this is a dead heavy set. Like why would we not That's per Jacobs. Like, why would we not just lean into having more of the lower owned guys in lineups and just swinging for the fences and stuff? So that's what I'm gonna do. Past that, I just kind of want to come online and talk about it really fast. Hopefully, maybe this helps. Maybe it doesn't. Whatever. But that's my opinion on the Super Bowl, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with everybody else at 1 Eastern time, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.